And here we have it. Shortcuts Video 1, March 1st, 2023. My wife's birthday, so I gotta make it a good list. This is the jazz soul funk, no, maybe not funk, jazz soul blues selection. Some real audiophile stuff, and one artist who is in a little bit of the spotlight. A pretty special artist, that is, too. So, with that, let's get into it. Now, let's start with this. The original master recording from Mobile Fidelity of Gerry Mulligan meets Ben Webster. Like all the MoFi records from the 90s, this is absolutely immaculate. The quality is second to none. The vinyl feels, in fact, I've got two MoFi, so I'll just pick this one. There it is, Gerry Mulligan meets Ben Webster. It is extraordinary. Now, I listened to this record earlier tonight, and I'm still mulling over whether to sell it or not. The sound quality is utterly exquisite. You feel like they're in the room in a way that, I don't know, that's pretty rare. The opening track, Chelsea Bridge, has a solo, which I assume is from Gerry Mulligan on the baritone sax, which is genuinely hair-raising. Give it a listen. It's utterly magnificent. I mean, these MoFi recordings have got, you know, the audiophile dreams come true. It comes with all the accoutrements. It sounds utterly magnificent. As does this. Now, this is a very, very different record. This is Aizitsu by Cat Stevens. Again, 1996. MoFi audiophile, absolutely near mint. There's the album. So unlike, you know, Ben Webster and Gerry Mulligan, that kind of 60s classic jazz feel of being in the room, and you can hear the instruments breathe, and you can feel the musicians watching each other. Aizitsu by Cat Stevens is the progenitor, many believe, for electronic pop. Now, Cat Stevens, British singer-songwriter, of course, you know, kind of had that folky beginning and kind of grew a career, not without its controversies, as we all know. But I challenge you to put on Killing Time or Kipros, the instrumental for Aizitsu, and sit back and be utterly flabbergasted that you're listening to Cat Stevens. I think this is the reason why MoFi decided to go all out with these pressings, because the interplay of synthesizers, electronic music, considering it's 1977, you can totally understand why it's been sampled left, right, and center, why it's been held up in the highest regard by those who took electronic music into the stratosphere in the 80s. So, two utterly wonderful records that may not be on many folks' radar, but I urge you to give them a listen. And I'm going to say the same thing about this third record. Asha Puthli's debut album. This is Japanese first press. Asha Puthli, born in Bombay. She was a flight attendant. She was a dancer. She got her first break, I believe, in dance. But then her singing career took off, and she began really and had success more as a jazz singer than a soul singer. But this record, she kind of created enough buzz to get the likes of Mick Rock to take this photograph. The imagery on this is beautiful. She covers, the songs are kind of a really odd mix of choices. So, for example, right down here, J.J. Cale, I Dig Love, George Harrison, I Love, John Lennon, Lies, J.J. Cale, Let Me In Your Life, Bill Withers. So, cover versions, although not complete cover versions, there's some great Asha Puthli songs as well. Her voice is amazing, but what utterly is transformative about this record is the cover version of I Dig Love by George Harrison. It is mind-blowing. It is indescribable. It is Je T'aime by Serge Gainsbourg and, what was her name? I can't remember now off the top of my head. It is whatever you think the most suggestive song. Take the Lemon Song by Led Zeppelin and throw it out the window. Take anything that you've ever heard. Take the scene with Meg Ryan, I'll Have What She Has, and then amplify it to the point where it's almost unbearable. When she sings, I love Dig in the Morning, over and over, and you're like, what am I hearing? And then it just sounds awesome. I cannot describe. It is utterly an incredible piece of recording. And so, even if you don't buy this, which is, by the way, it's a great record, and she's utterly gorgeous. She went on to write songs with Jay-Z. She's still alive. She's an incredible artist. What a life, and what a recording this album is. Now, talking about great artists, I've had just outrageously good feedback about how amazing Japanese presses of Stevie Wonder records have been this last few months. So here we go. Songs in the Key of Life, the double album complete with the EP. First time I've ever had this. Music of My Mind, Stevie Wonder. Maybe my personal favorite Stevie Wonder record. Closely followed or maybe tied by Inner Visions. Again, incredible gatefold, as is the Music of My Mind, by the way. The hard cardboard gatefolds of these records are just stunning quality. And then if you don't want to collect the classic run of 70s and late 60s records of Stevie Wonder, well then, one of the greatest compilations that's ever been released, the original Musiquarium by Stevie Wonder, again in magnificent gatefold. Superstition, Living for the City, Spider-Woman, 70-Year Love, You're the Sunshine of My Life, Higher Ground, Sir Duke, Master Blaster. It's just it's second to none. And so there we have just a collection of just phenomenal Stevie Wonder records, beautiful Japanese pressings, highly, highly recommended. I sang the praises of Joni Mitchell's Court and Spark a few weeks back because I had an Aussie press for sale. In my latest box, like the bus that comes along, this is the Japanese first press. as I said a few weeks back, I think this is right up there with the greatest singer-songwriter albums ever. It's utterly beautiful. Utterly, utterly beautiful. In a very different way to Asia. So I always get this every time I see it, because folk in the club just keep telling me that this has become their kind of go-to record when they want to put something on their record player that makes them go, wow. And this Japanese First Press, Asia, is right up there. These next couple are just, let's call them Flights of Fancy by me, just records I love. And so I've been able to introduce them to numerous people in the club now. And, you know, they're just lovely. So them Dirty Blues by Cannonball Adderley. It's just the Cannonball Adderley Quintet, also featuring his brother Nat Adderley. It's just dirty, grainy, bluesy jazz. It just makes it's the type of jazz I love. What about this? So first time I've ever had one of my favourite bands, Soft Machine. Now this record features Alan Holdsworth, who was a guitarist from a band called, I think it was Nucleus, who joined Soft Machine for this record. I think it was maybe their fifth or sixth record. An absolutely genius guitar player, and he utterly transformed the sound of the band. If you don't know Bundles or any Soft Machine, I highly recommend this. Just go and listen to the first song, Hazard Profile Part 1, all the way through to Part 5. It is, you know, guitar playing par excellence, really, really special. Highly, highly recommended. Very interesting record. As is this, Peck in Time, Hank Mobley and Lee Morgan. Recorded in 58, but didn't get released until much later. Like many Rudy Van Gelder sessions, it got stored away until the time was right, and then it saw the light of day. Lee Morgan, Hank Mobley, Wynton Kelly, Paul Chambers, and Charlie Persett. It's a beautiful hard bop record. I still think Lee Morgan is maybe the unsung genius of Blue Note, but you know, I love Hank Mobley too. So seeing the two of them, Hank Mobley and Lee Morgan, sharing top billing on a Blue Note, that's pretty fabulous. Now this is a deeply great album. So Fili, the Kilimanjaro. You know, Miles Davis had a bit of pretension. Why all the songs in this album have got French titles, I have no idea. I don't think he knows either. But what this is the stepping stone into Miles's jazz rock era. So here's where Tony Williams on drums and Wayne Shorter on tenor sax and Miles Davis really create that music that suggests that there's lineage between jazz and rock and roll. And, you know, it leads to Bitches Brew, it leads to Jack Johnson, which is my personal favourite Miles Davis record. But this one's right up there. I think kind of accessible too, and really groovy, and a lot of that is down to Tony Williams, their percussionist. What a drummer. Unbelievable. The second track on this Toot Suite is an absolute percussion masterclass. You can just listen to that song just to hear the hi-hat and just various things that Tony Williams does. What an unbelievable player he was. Died way too young. He was only 50, I think, or maybe 51. But you will listen to that record and you'll think, oh, I should hear more of his stuff. And yeah, he's a deep well to explore. Now, maybe from the more obscure to something, I love this sleeve. Look at this. Diana by Diana Ross. Still her biggest selling album. 10 million plus copies. One of the biggest selling Motown records of all time. One of the greatest singles of all time in Upside Down. The whole record's just a masterpiece. It appears in the lists of the best records of all time for a reason, because it is. It is one of the best. Again, this is another personal favourite of mine, and I always put it on the list just because I love it. I just think it's playful and fun, and got a real sense of humour. So this is the Oscar Peterson trio with the vibraphonist Milt Jackson, and the album's called Very Tall. I think you can even see in the photographs, you get a sense of the fun that comes through this on the original Verve label. It's just me smile. It's really fun. And then finally we'll finish with some classic blues. East West, the Butterfield Blues Band, probably most famous for the title track and last song on the album, East West itself, which is 10 or 11 minutes of blues bluster par excellence. It's just a great way to turn up the speakers and crunch your system, and maybe drive your wife mad in my case. Anyway, I love it to bits. And East West is it's gotta be right up there for the Butterfield Blues Band's best recordings. So what an odd mix, as always, and it's kind of what I love about doing this weird little club with all of you. As always, love the feedback, and please share so we can keep this little club alive. Watch the second video because it features one of my favourite albums of all time, which I'm going to rave about. This t-shirt's a clue. The JBs, past the P's. And I will see you all on Wednesday. Looking forward to it. I'm going to get bundles and pricing and everything out this week because I got to get these records posted. My wife's going to drive me nuts, or she's going to kill me. So anyway, fabulous. Thanks again for listening. It's much appreciated.